The year is 1954, and for context, in London, the first experimental colour television broadcasts were taking place. But this is the other side of the planet, where a train arrived once a week with tea and sugar. The highway that runs across the bottom of Australia, connecting Perth to Adelaide, almost 2,500 kilometres of it, was only fully sealed as late as 1976, meaning it was partially a dirt road up until that point. And so the lifeline for the towns in between was the railway, the Trans-Australian Railway, which opened in 1917.
Of course, comes the tea and sugar, and everyone turns out. The latest news from down the line. And for 20 or 30 minutes once a week, the wide, wide world comes to the front porch at Nullarbor and Fisher, Malboomer and Hesso.
One doesn't feel so isolated out here with the train coming once a week. We have all the news from everyone along the line. And I remember just recently, I was so very ill and I had to be taken by a section car down to Tarcoola. There was no sister there, so they sent across to Ceduna and the flying doctor came along. We stayed there overnight and she took me back to Ceduna with the trained sister, and they had the ambulance waiting, took me straight into the hospital, onto the operating table without even taking my shoes off. Of course, here at Hesso, it's not quite so isolated. We're only 40 miles from Port Augusta, and we see quite a bit of traffic.
Made by the National Film Board in 1954, a government department that captures stories about life in Australia. At the time for playing in cinemas, this is Tea and Sugar Train, which talks about the community connecting that the train does. It was a passenger and freight train, but its services also include mail, health services, and a moving general store. You can see the film in its entirety on the NFSA channel on YouTube.